I feel like the biggest INFJ hypocrite ever. The biggest INFJ hypocrite in the world on YouTube in this space. And I need to apologize to you. I'm actually really embarrassed by this. It's the whole do as I say but not what I do. I'm going to tell you what I did, where I went wrong, the lessons I've learned, why I'm a hypocrite, and where the heck I've been in the past 2 weeks. As an INFJ therapist on YouTube, I often talk with you about self-care, self-acceptance of who you are as an INFJ, preventing burnout in your life, because we all know that as INFJs, we are prone to burnout. The importance of going at a slow pace, especially if you're in business, if you're a mum, about not buying into hustle culture, because hustle culture as an INFJ business owner does not work for us. And also about how as INFJs, we are healers. We are the light to this world. We are the people that bring hope and inspiration to others. And why it's so important that as healers, we need to care for ourselves, fill up our own cups, heal ourselves so that we can be in a place to give. I share all of this. In fact, I've continuously been sharing this for the last few months. But honestly, I feel like I'm a fraud. I am the biggest hypocrite in sharing all of that, because even though at the time of sharing this, even though at the time over the last couple of months, I thought I was in a place of empowerment and looking after myself, the truth is, I really screwed up. In hindsight, I wasn't looking after myself. I wasn't listening to my body and what my body needed. I wasn't paying attention to my mental health and what my mental health needed. I shared around 12 weeks ago that I had whooping cough. Firstly, I have whooping cough at the moment. That's right, I've been in quarantine for the last week with whooping cough. I thought that shit was eradicated like 100 years ago, but apparently it's not, and I've been quite sick this week. And that sucked. And you know, I did the right thing when I got diagnosed with whooping cough. I did the right thing and I rested for a week. I had to self-isolate from the community because it's highly contagious, and I stayed home. But even then, when I was staying home with whooping cough, I continued to hustle. I continued to work on my business. I continued showing up for people. I continued showing up for you. But once I got over the whooping cough, which mind you, I never completely got over the whooping cough. I still wake up every morning coughing. I have been coughing every day for 3 months now, and I think I'm gonna try acupuncture for that, but that's another story. I continued to work, I continued to hustle. I then shared with you that I was experiencing burnout. But if there's one thing that I hated, that would be going through INFJ burnout. I hate it. I don't care for it. It makes me angry. I'm feeling angry right now. I really, really don't like going through it. And I put this video up saying that I was recognizing all of the signs that I was going through burnout. I shared some of the symptoms I was going through. I shared what my body was doing, what my mind was doing, and how life was really busy. It was unavoidable busyness because mum life. But I knew at the time that I was on the brink of burnout. And I shared with you how important it was to take care of yourself, to slow down, to take a break. Did I listen? No. I did not listen to a thing that I said to you. I did the complete opposite. And after I shared that burnout video, there was actually a whole bunch of other things that happened in my life. I had an elderly relative who was on his last days, and we were visiting him in hospital every day until he passed away. And I'm sure you can imagine the emotional heavy weight that was, and being the support person for other family members. And there was just a whole bunch of other things that was taking place. But while all of this was taking place, I became absolutely driven and obsessed in reaching one of my major goals on YouTube and in my business, which was to become monetized. And I did it, I got monetized, yay. But the day that I actually got monetized, I became really sick with the flu. All the hustling I was doing, all of the obsessive thinking I was doing on my goals, it ended up causing me to have a complete physical breakdown, and I could not get out of bed for a week. Even as I was leading up to this physical breakdown and getting sick, I shared a video with you that we can't buy into hustle culture, that we need to go at a slow pace, that it's okay if our business grows slowly. But my biggest tip for you as an INFJ in business and being a mother or father is to start how you want to finish. I tried for a little bit the hustle mode and being really busy, and I got so burnt out that I got really sick and I ended up doing nothing. But if you can just set up your business in a way that honors your needs as an INFJ and be okay that you might grow slower than other people, be okay with that's totally okay. And yet here I was behind the scenes working my butt off, and I paid for it dearly. It cost me a lot. Instead of celebrating the fact that I got monetized on YouTube, which is a huge deal for me, I was in bed with the flu. And the fatigue I felt from this, wow. I hadn't felt so exhausted, like, you know, that exhaustion that just gets into your bones, that like dog tired exhaustion. I felt so fatigued, and it was frustrating because I just got monetized. I really wanted to celebrate with friends and family, but I couldn't. I had to stay home. And then I couldn't even bring out the camera to create another video, to continue on the momentum of what was happening for me on YouTube. And you know, this video is probably not gonna do very well because the algorithm's probably gonna punish me for not uploading a video for a few weeks. But there was just nothing I could do. The idea of pulling out a camera felt way too exhausting, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't show up. I felt embarrassed that I preached to you about self-care, and yet I hadn't even been looking after myself. I found that even going on Instagram and showing up on my stories was just impossible, and all I could do was go into hermit mode. I had friends messaging me to make sure I was okay because they hadn't heard from me because I completely shut myself away from the world for at least 2 weeks. And you know, at first, I was really beating myself up about this. I berated myself. I was like, who are you? You're an imposter. What sort of counselor are you? You can't even look after yourself. You can't even do what you tell everybody else to do. And as I said before, I just felt so embarrassed by this, and I didn't want to show up for you or show my face. But eventually I got to a place where I knew I needed to forgive myself and show myself grace and compassion. If I'm completely honest, I don't regret having to hustle towards the end to get monetized, because I don't think I'd be monetized if I didn't do that. But I do regret not listening to my body, not having the normal self-care that I would normally do, not socializing with people and having fun, but all I was focused on was work, work, work. There is no joy when all we're doing is work. I was in a hyper fixated mode. My friend who has ADHD said that it almost sounded like if I had ADHD, and I don't know if I do or don't, like I was in a hyper fixated zone. And then often what happens after you've been in that like focus, you crash and burn, and it takes a few days to a few weeks to recover from that. And that is definitely what's happened to me. I've had to accept that I'm human and you are human. We're not superheroes. I often talk about how INFJs, we have these superpowers and we're going to heal the world and bring light to the world. But at the end of the day, we're still human. And looking back even on the last 12 weeks, I've been getting migraines weekly, headaches. I've had so much inflammation and pain in my body, but I ignored it. And I think that that's a detriment for INFJs, and that we struggle to be in our bodies and to pay attention to what our body is trying to say to us. And that's why it's so important that we work on our SE function so that we can be aware of what our body is saying, because our body gives us the answers. It holds the key. And if we can just pay attention more to the sensations we're having, the emotions that are coming up, then we can prevent going through what I went through, because I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. I haven't had this type of burnout in a really long time. I want to encourage you, INFJ, that I get what it's like. I understand the struggles that we go through because I go through it too. But I want you to know that we can overcome these. We can. There are so many tools that we can use to help ourselves. But please, please, please have self-care, look after yourself, listen to your body, do the things that bring you joy, have more fun in your life, actually socialize and see people, meditate, journal, have therapy, do the things that are going to fill up your cup so that you can continue to pour out and give to others.